this whole movie in a nutshell. It's this aesthetic of gravitas and important and look how artistic we are with absolutely no soul or meat to it. It explores nothing, and it doesn't even feel like empty calories. It feels like somebody blew in my face because they ate a meal and I get to smell it. It was bad. I didn't like it.
It's a burp.
It was a burp. Yeah.
I did feel like I smelled like cigarettes after this movie.
She said
Everyone
that on the way
was
home.
smoking.
Yeah. YUNKJunk! What's up again to all of our sidekicks and henchfolks out there in the Geek Nation? We had some technical difficulties, but we're back, baby! Welcome to the Shared Psychosis Cult Pop Podcast, episode 96. Did you know we're one of the longest running comic book and pop culture podcasts? Did you know that? I didn't even know that, and it's my show, where we talk about movies and sequels and remakes and TVs and comics and all the other things that scratch your sweet nerdy itches. We're coming to you live from YUNKJunk HQ, a bomb-ass podcast production space in Philadelphia. I'm your host, JD. With me this week are...
Noel.
And...
Alice.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan. We love you, Dylan. Tonight we're going to be discussing two flicks, Salem's Lot and Joker Folie. But first, we got letters.
We got letters?
Oh, we got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters.
There's actually two of them.
Great.
Go.
So I'm gonna get to it. Pink Apocalypse says, hiya. I wrote a long-winded email that spiraled through my thoughts on the impact of second, third, and fourth wave feminism on cinema, corporate capitalist infiltration, and exploitation of so-called sex positivity. What's this word?
Bivariate.
Bivariate. What's that mean?
Don't ask me questions.
What does it mean?
Just keep going.
Cultural responses, my personal definitions of different sub-horror genres: scientific, atomic, slasher, body, phantasmagoria, torture, foreign, supernatural, etc. And my responses to them through a reflective, personal, and academic lens. Then, like half the emails I write, I deleted it. Too long, viewers wouldn't care. It felt good organizing my thoughts on it before I flushed it, though. I say that every time I flush one.
We care, undelete it and send it.
Yeah, undelete it. Go back into your deleted folder and send it, because we're legitimately interested in at least reading it to ourselves.
Even if I don't have anything to contribute, I want to read that. So
I want to nitpick about the sub horror genres and then how they cross pollinate each other. And well, this is actually scientific, but it's got a slasher in it. So what is it classified as? Blah blah blah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Send that email. We actually want to. So I'll ask a simple question, she continues. Terrifier series, like or dislike? Heavens no. Hell yes. Purgatory maybe? Perhaps, as the meme goes. The third one is out, and it's quite the divisive buzz again. Curious about thoughts from the four of you. Take care. Pink. All right, you start.
I haven't seen any of them.
Great.
Just because I've heard that they're excessively gory, especially the first one. It has no plot. The second one I've heard it has a little more plot. I'm curious to see them just as a horror fan because I get asked about it a lot. But I avoid it because it's excessively gory. And not that I don't care about excessive gore. I just see it every day in my work, and I don't need to see it if there's no plot. So anyway, that's a quick summary of what I said before.
My experience with the Terrifier is I watched the original movie, All Hallows Eve, where he first makes his appearance, and I didn't make it through it. And then Noel told me the whole plot of the second one, I think, at the shop. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it. After saying, I have no interest in watching this, I'm never going to watch these, I went home and was like, I'm going to watch this. And I didn't care for it. Again, it's gore for gore's sake, which is fine, but it's not even entertaining or interesting. So there was nothing in it to hook me in. It was just like, the gore is at 12 the whole time. So it just it wasn't for me. And also the gore was not good in the first one.
In the first one. The second one's a lot better. I'm fascinated with these movies. I'm fascinated by them more than I enjoy them. They have a vibe / aesthetic that I think is really fun, but the movies themselves aren't very fun. They feel like trauma movies without the tongue-in-cheek or winks at the camera. So that just makes it kind of subversive, which is also its own feature, but still kind of like, that can only take you so far. And then we're talking about a movie that's 2 hours and 10 minutes long. I'm like, how subversive are we getting? This is just getting like, whatever. The first one I thought was dumb. And I was like, okay, I get it. Iconography wise, he's so cool looking.
Yeah.
Right.
The second one I watched about a week ago, and I think I liked it, but not because I enjoyed myself, just because it's such a weird swing of a movie. It's got dream logic. It doesn't make sense. They introduced 500 different plot points that never get resolved, but it's not a boring sit.
Okay.
It's just not like the first one was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not boring. It's just kind of, it's almost like weirdly meditative. But it also features one of the most cruel sequences
I've heard about this.
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't really like it, but I'm just fascinated.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the third one, and it's just weird, man.
I want to see it. I dislike the first one in such a way that I am amazed that they decided to make more, and then doubly amazed that America seems to love it. Like it is like a cult. It's beyond cult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
like the Winnie the Pooh movie.
And
Blood and Honey?
Speaking
Blood and Honey,
of,
like all 10 of them.
the actor who plays Art the Clown, whose name I do not know, is going to be, I forget if it's actually Mickey Mouse or Steamboat Willie, in the like Mickey Mouse verse Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Yeah.
Steamy Willie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like there's the first one definitely had that kind of like, I can't believe they got this made and all these people are looking at it and it's kind of cool and art looks really nifty. The second one though is, I mean, legitimately a better movie that looks better, plays better.
I gotta give it a shot. I think I gotta watch it and just
I'm
have some
curious.
thoughts on it. Yeah.
I just kind of respect it more than I enjoy it.
Okay.
So I'm like, it's interesting.
Are you actively looking forward to Terrifier 3 in the theater this week? Like, ooh, I'm going to go see that this week. I'm excited.
More so than I was for Joker.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I'm not like it's I'm not super excited about cringing at someone getting a chainsaw put up their ass.
Yeah.
I don't think that's awesome, but I can disassociate enough to be like, that's kind of impressive how they pulled that off. You know, like what you had mentioned earlier, the idea of like torture porn or gore porn. The terminology I have a problem with, because like pornography is something that it's you're titillated by or you're excited by, not just excessive. It's excessive, but I don't think it's pornography. Yeah. Like when I say competence porn, I'm turned on by these characters. I'm like excited and titillated by these characters being so good at like this heist or this thing. That's porn. But like there's just a lot of something. That's not porn.
I think there's a difference between in context of how it's used. So if you're talking about a movie being competence porn because you have your reaction to it, yes. But when a movie is sort of described as torture porn, I don't think that really plays into the audience's individual reaction to that porn that makes it porn. I think it's like the creators are just doing something that's like egregious. Well, like there's nothing to it other than
I mean, just the impetus of the terminology, I think, is absolutely incorrect then. Because if the point is to like, if the point is gore and I want to do as much gore as humanly possible, that could just be the point. That's excessiveness. If the point is I'm going to turn people on emotionally or not with this gore, then it's pornography. Yeah. Like it's intention and result. Like something that's not supposed to be pornographic can come off as pornographic and vice versa. But I think people throw like I think Hostel was torture porn in a way, because it was like literally the plot was about people getting off and romanticizing this like torture.
I see. I get it.
But Saw, I don't think was. But then as the sequels kept going, it did become that. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's well, I mean, what did Tipper Gore say a million years ago? I don't know how to define it. I just know it when I see it.
I know when I see it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the chat, let's see. Christopher Goodnight says, absolutely no desire to watch the Terrifier series, except there's an image of it that looks like the girl from Yellow Jackets that plays Nat, the younger version, and she's got kind of bloody and she's got angel wings, and that makes me kind of curious, but I'm never going to watch it.
That's the main star. I forget her name.
Is it?
Sienna. The character's name is Sienna. She's in the second and third one.
Oh my God.
And
okay.
The final girl in the first one is
Speaking of Christopher Goodnight, we have another email. He says, my favorite American Horror Story is Cult. Love Allison Pill, and it just hit right during that toxic time in America's political climate. Thank God that's over. Next is Roanoke, a.k.a. Pilgrim Normal Experience. I just love the meta aspect of it. Followed by Apocalypse. I love that it wrapped up multiple stories from previous seasons, and who doesn't love Billy Lord and Emma Roberts?
I did love Apocalypse.
The big problem with the series as a whole is he tries to cram too much into each season. Asylum was one of the worst offenders of this, with Nazi experiments, alien abduction, and demon-possessed Santa Clauses on top of a brilliant serial killer storyline.
Asylum is my least favorite.
I never finished Hotel, the horniest of the series, and I never watched after the summer camp one. Was that 1980?
1980. That's where I stopped too. Yeah, that's the one after Apocalypse. I think it's season 9. Season 8 is Apocalypse. I've only watched
season 1, and that was
season 1 is so good until the
Connie
end.
Britton.
Yes, because of Connie Britton. She's the one who brought me in.
I watched 3 episodes of season 1.
Oh,
is that that's all you've watched of American Horror Story?
I don't care.
Yeah, I can get it.
It doesn't hold up. Nowadays, it does not.
No.
Like I tried to rewatch. I remember being
so
like
edgy.
excited about it when I was younger. Exactly, when I was younger.
2011.
was
Alice,
like,
18-year-old Alice was stoked about it.
I
I've
tried
noticed-
rewatching it. And,
Yeah. I
I'd
liked
cringe
Coven
it.
a lot. I rewatched Coven. I like Coven still.
Yeah, you lose me at Dylan McDermott fucking jacking off.
Yeah,
And-
that was exciting. Yeah.
in like the third. It was just such a weird show, and Ryan Murphy show. I wasn't here for this conversation. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have been able to contribute to anything.
Oh, I talked about grotesquerie. That's where it came up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joker was an okay-ish movie with fantastic acting. I wasn't expecting Redacted to show up and thought that actor did a great job, but I can't see him ever playing Redacted. I have to wonder if the guy at the end was Redacted. He didn't get a name for him in the credits, but I saw that I clocked him during the one scene he showed up in before the very end. I guess it doesn't matter since the movie is getting panned and there won't be a sequel, but I wouldn't hate it if it did. Christopher St. Saucy, good night.
The
Redacted.
redacted pieces were in the other email, and it's fine.
You wrote the Redacted?
No, he did. But
okay.
it was like a postscript at the bottom of the email of what he meant by the redacted. He's talking about Harvey Dent.
Oh, okay.
Harvey Dent showed up.
Yeah,
whatever, who cares?
Yeah, it's not a big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then something else. Yeah.
Those were our emails. Thank you so much. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. The next segment of our show is called Hey Cult Poppers, What's Poppin'? And I'm going to ask my friends here what was poppin' for them this week. And I'm going to go to Alice. What was poppin' this week?
I watched a movie called Oddity, which is on Shudder and also for purchase on Amazon. Did we talk about? And I think Hulu. Directed by Damien McCarthy. I've never seen any of his other films before, but I was hearing a lot of buzz about Oddity.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm still hearing buzz.
Yeah. Really good reviews from both the audience and critics. So I watched it with Kosa and I really enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of I'm a big fan of Oz Perkins films. He did Longlegs, also Blackcoat's Daughter, which is one of my favorites.
That is good.
And it kind of reminded
Slow
me.
burn.
That's what it reminded me of. Like it's not exactly like it, but just like the sense of just impending dread, and you're like, oh my god, what's happening? Like it's really good. I highly recommend.
A psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about this movie, and I'm definitely going to check it out. Hey, Noel, real quick, what was popping for you this week?
I jumped back into American Vampire, the comic book series by Scott Snyder and Raphael Albuquerque, with one arc co-written by Stephen King. It's an amazing. I'm more than halfway through it. That's the first omnibus. I'm on the second one. It's a wonderful modern / not so modern horror story about vampires, but specifically the American vampire, which is a hybrid strain of vampirism that they're able to like function in the daytime. They're a little bit stronger and can only be killed by certain things, and how that kind of fucks up the structure of vampires, especially in Europe. And it's not a probably a statement on American imperialism in so much, but it's an absolutely awesome book.
I'm excited to read it.
It goes back and forward in time. Like it's the main characters are Skinner Sweet, who's an absolute piece of shit that was turned in the Wild West. And then it skips to the 1920s Hollywood and Pearl, and they are the two of them become the only American vampires. And it jumps all through time. Like we get 1950s characters, we get
I love
1970s.
That.
There is a World War II Nazi vampire arc. Like it's really, really fun. It's a really, really fun book. And they just released it in a compact comic.
Yeah,
so you can get the first 11 issues for $10. It's totally great.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it. I don't know if you knew this about me. I love vampire shit. So I'm super excited.
None of these guys don't sparkle, I don't think.
I don't just like sparkly vampires. I was into vampires before Twilight.
It is just a really, really great book. A good horror
Little
read.
vampire, guys.
I'm sorry, the littlest.
Richard E. Grant didn't sparkle.
Bullshit.
Neither
what's been popping for you?
Lestat or Louis.
I'll tell you what was popping for me. Sushan and I went and saw a movie last night called Whitebird. Struggling to fit into a new school after being expelled for his retreatment of Augie Pullman, Julian is visited by his grandmother and is transformed by the story of her attempts to escape Nazi-occupied France during World War II. This was, I have a soft spot for, and this is going to sound so weird, World War II Nazi shit. Like watching movies of Nazis get what's coming to them. I kind of love that. And watching the human spirit have to overcome the awfulness of World War II and all that sort of stuff. Like it just hits me in a certain way. And so we had a couple of options and Whitebird came up. We saw the trailer while, on my iPhone in the car. And I was like, this looks great. Let's check this out. And so we did. It's got Gillian Anderson and what's her name?
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren. Thank you so much. And I will say there are two elements to this movie. There is the current stuff where Helen Mirren is in her 80s. She's telling the story to her grandson. And then there's the stuff that, the flashbacks, which you spend most of the movie in. The flashback stuff is awesome. Everybody in it is great. The acting is wonderful. The story is compelling. Highly recommend that. Anytime that they shift back to now, it feels like an after-school special or a Lifetime movie. It's just so overwritten and so on the nose, and it's trying too hard to be hopeful. And here's the lesson that we're teaching you by telling you this story. And I'm like, all right, guys, you could have just given me the middle bit. The middle bitch. That's a town, right?
I was actively avoiding this movie, and I'll tell you why.
I think I know. Go ahead.
It's that part.
Oh, okay.
It's Wonder, it's in the shared universe of the movie Wonder, which is a feel good Christian adjacent, don't bully people movie from a couple years ago that I just don't care. Like, I'm not 12. I don't need that lesson. Yeah. I'm fine. And this entire movie is constructed like a side sequel where the bully from that movie is the kid from this one. And it's like bookended with he's learning a lesson about bullies via
World
Nazi
War II.
story.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just make the 1940s movie.
That is not clear in the movie. All she says is like, oh, you didn't leave your school. You got kicked out for bullying.
He was the bully. He was the bad guy
I had no idea.
In the other movie.
Oh, okay. I was like, even reading this synopsis, I'm like, Augie Pullman, who the hell's that guy?
Look at the indicia on the bottom of the title from the best-selling author of Wonder.
It's funny.
Yeah.
We were watching the trailers before this movie, and all of them had the very same vibe. And I forget what the name of the production company is, but it's got like a keyhole and it's like golden. And I was like, I have a feeling that this is some sort of religious Christian kind of thing, which made me a little nervous. But yeah,
I'm glad the parts that are supposed to work worked. Also, Mark Forrester is a wonderful director. And if this is how he's getting work now, good for him.
What did he do?
Finding Neverland, something else. I could look him up real quick, but like he is pretty good dude. Oh yeah, World War Z, A Man Called Otto, Quantum of Solace, Monsters Ball. Like he's done a lot of movies. Stranger Than Fiction, which was one of my favorites. Yeah, he's done a lot.
I love Stranger Than Fiction.
He's done a lot of great stuff. But then and the Christopher Robin movie with Ewan McGregor, and then like his list of movies don't look like any of them belong with each other.
Right. Yeah, they're all very disparate.
But anyway.
Right. So that was popping for us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're running behind time because of our technical difficulties. So we're gonna get through Salem's Lot, the 2024 remake. Is it a remake if it's just another adaptation of a novel? Is that considered a remake?
Okay. I think yes, if the movie just basically follows the same beats as the original movie, but if it is different in the same way that the book is. So like when people make adaptations, usually they'll do different things.
Right.
So like if the first adaptation is different than the book, but this movie is closer to the book, I would say it's an adaptation.
Yeah.
If it is basically just a remake of the movie, it's a remake.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Pink's in the chat.
I didn't see either.
Jesus, time flies. I think JD and the old crew on Ain't It Cool News covered American Vampire like 20 years ago. Robert and Rose shows up. Hey, what's up, Cold Poppers? Did you see The Substance?
Not yet.
No, it's I would have much rather watched that than Joker. Saw it last Saturday. A few people couldn't handle it and walked out.
Wow.
Someone actually brought a kid that looked to be around 10 years old.
Oh, that's
I
bad.
think on Twitter, I think it was Scott Derrickson, the director of Sinister and all kinds of stuff, has said that it was one of his favorites and he's still scraping the thought of it off of his brain.
Wow.
Ooh,
I was like, that sounds cool.
I want to see it.
All right, so Salem's Lot. Anyway, an author returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover that the townspeople are being attacked by a bloodthirsty vampire. Who amongst us hasn't had that happen? It's a tale as old as time.
Everyone in this movie is not super surprised either.
Oh, that's what I love about it. That's one of the things.
Like,
Oh, okay, guys, it's totally a vampire, right?
Yeah. This vamp's right. Yeah. Directed by Gary Dauberman.
Yeah.
Written by Stephen King and Gary Dauberman. And it stars Mackenzie Lee, Jordan Preston Carter, and Lewis Pullman.
And Alfred Woodard.
Okay. Start us off. What did you think?
Oh, well, I've never seen the original movie or read the books.
Okay.
So I only vaguely knew it was a vampire movie, and I'm familiar. My experience with this entire story is the scene from the original 1979 version of the little boy in the window is everyone picks as like the top 10
Classic.
scariest scenes of all time. So I was aware of it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just watched this cold. This is a weird movie.
It is.
Yeah.
So ultimately I liked it.
Same.
It is like if Mike Flanagan made a Hammer horror movie. It is a stupid fucking movie.
Yes.
But aesthetically, it is taken so seriously and it is so competent. I'm like, this is really slick.
Yeah.
The whole last third of this movie is fucking banger.
Yes.
Thank you.
good.
Yes. I
So
was
good.
so
That's when I got
nervous.
really
I thought you were
into
going to
it.
hate it.
No, I think the movie is bad, but it's like a really good bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I
agree.
read that the first cut of it was 3 hours long.
Oh my
I'd watch
God.
that.
I think,
I
well,
love
that's
this
just it.
movie.
Like, I bet it was 10 times better when people were able to have conversations
Yeah.
about, like, is it a vampire? I don't know. In this 1 hour and 45-minute version, it's just like a
Vampire.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's go. Let's go. The doctor just believes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
teacher just knows.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's one of the things that I love this movie. When it first starts, I was like, oh, I don't know. This dialogue is kind of stilted and
Same.
weird. And like what's the vampire's name?
Barlow.
Barlow's servant. I'm like, I hate this guy's dialogue and I don't like
Oh,
the
that guy's
actor.
name is Stryker.
Striker
and Barlow. Barlow's
Barlow's
the
the-
actual vampire.
Barlow's the vampire.
Barlow is the vampire. Striker's the guy at the
Yes.
shop.
Yeah. So anytime Straker opened his mouth, I was like, shut up. This
Guy from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
How is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then just as it went on, I started to get pulled in by and impressed by so many of the shots. The cinematography of this movie is
Gary Dauberman cooked.
fantastic.
Fucking cooked.
It is way better than a movie of this caliber should have.
Mm-hmm.
I was flabbergasted by some of the shots. I'm looking at one of them now. It's awesome.
That's one of my favorite shots in the
That
movie.
entire sequence is phenomenal.
Brilliant.
The kids walking through the woods. I
And you
won't
see
spoil
their
it. but-
figures.
Yeah, there's so much to love about this movie.
Yeah.
I am so.
And then it gets so dumb at the end that I was like, yes. I don't want to spoil it. We'll get into spoilers.
not
maybe.
dumb, brilliant.
Yeah.
The whole third act climax set piece,
So fun.
fucking brilliant.
God damn it, Costa.
Absolutely brilliant. So a good director does the foreshadow bit, but also just like completely sets the stage, and you have this graveyard of coffins.
Yeah.
And you know exactly where the sun is, you know exactly what's happening here, you know exactly what happens when something like a creak sound, like you are fully aware of everything. And then on top of that, they give you a fucking smack of a smash cut with the doctor. And I'm like,
oh, dude, so good.
This movie,
so good. I forgot about
banger.
that. Yeah.
Absolute banger.
I rewound that just to watch it again. I was like, that was gnarly. What'd you think?
I really, really enjoyed it. I read the book a long time ago to the point where like I need to revisit it. But there's also a slight connection with one of my favorite Stephen King books, Dr. Sleep.
Oh.
The creatures that have a connection to Salem's Lot, and they reference it in it.
Oh, the True Knot?
Yeah.
From Dr. Sleep?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They mention like staying in Salem's Lot with their like kinfolk.
What?
Yeah.
I do not remember that.
It's like types of vampires, flavors of vampires, right? Yeah, yeah.
And I've read
cool.
Dr. Sleep multiple times. It's
so
one of my
good.
favorites. Mike Flanagan directed the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so we have been flirting with the idea of doing a tiered list or a bracketed list of Stephen King film adaptations. Dr. Sleep would be very high for
on
me.
my list. Yeah. Shocking.
See,
Incredibly high
I need to
for me.
revisit it because I watched it fresh after reading the book, and I need to revisit it as its own adaptation.
Watch the director's cut.
Yeah.
10 times better.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a mini series. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Anyway, sorry.
okay,
Salem's Lot.
I really enjoyed this movie. I lost me a little bit in the beginning with the dialogue too.
Right.
I was like, this feels like a Hallmark movie, cheesy-ish, and then the first shot of, oh my god, horror.
Even the
stuff.
Hallmark parts though were charming as fuck. Like the idea of the Ben character and then Susie flirting with him, like, I'm going to the drive-in tonight.
I was just on the walk here.
It was so sweet and so nice.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it also became sad later. So like this was cool.
I liked when she was reading his book and didn't realize that it was him on the back. Like, you look familiar. Oh, how do you like the book? I'm not going to finish it. And he's like, oh.
This was good trash.
Yeah.
This was great trash. 100%. I'm so glad you guys liked it. Should we get into spoilers real quick?
I would really love to get into spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the new
Christine,
Salem.
yes, sorry.
Christine is a fucking classic.
Is that a Stephen King classic or a John Carpenter classic? Because I think it would not be as good without John Carpenter.
That's true. Pink says, I adore Christine. It legit holds up. 100%, Pink.
Yeah.
So spoilers for the 2024 Salem's Lot starting now. The fucking car, like at the end when they get to the drive-in, and those aren't, what is it? They're not cars, they're coffins.
Oh, I
was like,
loved
fucking.
it. I called it and I loved it. I just
as soon as you know they introduced it early on. I've done that at drive-ins where you hide in the back seat.
Yeah.
So they introduced it early on. I was like, that's adorable little piece of ephemera. And then as soon as they do the thing where you guys notice there's no cars, I was like, we're going back to the fucking
I didn't
drive-in.
get it.
We're going to the drive-in.
I didn't get it.
And the idea of all the cars
I was like, they're going to all be at the
spread
drive-in.
out. I'm just like, that is a series of coffins. Those are all fucking coffins. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And then the way that you were talking about the sun, and the sun is slowly creeping down behind the screen at the drive-through. And then, you know, of course, these vampires, ambient light doesn't hurt them. So if they're in the shadow, it's
Shades.
fine.
Yeah.
And then the way they dealt with that, with the kid driving through and knocking it down and everyone exploding at once.
This movie is so
gnarly.
I don't want to say cruel because that's like a bad thing. No one is safe in this movie.
Yeah.
No.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, I'm like, I mean, I don't know what's gonna like. I think we can all lose. We can all lose.
Yeah.
But the way that Gary Dauberman, the director, who previously was more so a writer, I think he's only done one other movie. He wrote It, the Annabelle movies, a lot of atmospheric horror.
Yeah.
But he staged action so fucking well. Like that sequence is. You've got 4 threats that are like shuffled amongst each other, and the way that he balances them was just so good. And then you've got like the sequences that are just artistically perfect with they get thrown into the box office / projection booth, and we're seeing it.
Shot.
Yeah. we're seeing it from above, but then we're also seeing it through the window. It's like we get one amazing reveal through blind shades in the middle of another action sequence. And I'm like, this is just like dope on top of dope on top of dope.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie was worth the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Oh, and the sequence where he's running back to the church, gets scooped up.
Yeah.
And then they both fall. I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was
there
so
was
good.
so much creativity in this direct to max movie.
Yeah.
It's 10 times better than Joker.
And what's his name? Barlow is on top of the movie screen that has fallen, and he's punching through the movie screen to get to the dude underneath. Like using the environment
absolute banger
in such a way. It was so cool.
So good. I loved this shot. We just talked about it briefly. There's two brothers walking through the woods alone, and it's just their like figures, their silhouettes, and they're talking like, we were trying to avoid the creepy guy on the road, and then like suddenly the creepy guy on the road pops up, and he just scoops up the little baby brother, and then where's my brother? And oh my God, it was so well shot. And the scene when the other brother turns into he's dead, turns into a vampire. We don't know that yet, but we kind of do. They had his funeral. The gravedigger fell asleep. Wakes up and it's nighttime and he has to bury his grave, and he hears him and like pounding in there, and he opens the casket and it's just the dead boy, and they're like, oh my God, I'm hearing things. But then like he turns around and you see like the little peek up. Oh my God. And then like it was so good. I love that scene.
This is a fun ass movie. I'm so glad I watched it.
And then he gets attacked and becomes a vampire.
It's also it doesn't hold punches. Like the entire town of Jerusalem's lot's gone.
Yeah.
And the outsiders made it. That's it.
Yep.
I'm like, this is
true.
wild.
I didn't even catch that.
Absolutely wild.
She even says that I think Susie's mom, who isn't a vampire but becomes Barlow's new familiar because Stryker, because Stryker dies, they kill him, or the boy kills him, right? The boy like beats him to death.
That's right.
That
he knew how to get out of he does magic, so he knew how to get out of the ties, and he just beat that guy to death. It was amazing.
That kid's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of the shots, there's so many good transitions. Just like from scene to scene. What was it? Someone's opening
at the funeral for the little boy. The priest opens the Bible, and then you see it cuts to the gravedigger behind a tree eating his peanut butter sandwich. He like opens it.
That's not the best one. The best one is the first one, actually. The idea of it focuses in on a business card with a spiral on it, and then it becomes the staircase. And that was like 10 minutes into the movie. I was just like, this movie's so extra.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
That's fine. Yeah.
In the chat, I can't read the name because it's in purple. Heather Lynn says, hiya, what's this all about?
Hi.
Well, we're talking about Salem's Lot, the remake or the new adaptation in 2024. And we thought it was delightful. You should watch it.
Radaptation.
Ooh, nice.
Radaptation. Love that.
You're welcome. Put it on a shirt.
And Costa says, love that scene. The child levitates out of the top of the shot.
Yes, we had to rewind because I missed it. So I saw him peek out, and then it cuts, and then it cuts back, and you see his feet levitating to the top before he jumps down and attacks. And Costa's like, did you see that? And I didn't. So
there's so much
they did that a lot with like the dark, and then all you see is like the little.
Oh, I love that, the eyes,
the little beady eyes.
Yeah.
In the dark. I love that.
It's a damn good movie.
Yeah, I am shocked at how good this was, or at least how fun it was.
It was a lot of fun.
I would have absolutely seen this in theaters.
Yeah.
Tack 20 minutes on it and let's go see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
Speaking of seeing things in theaters, let's move on to our main review. Joker, Folie, Deux, rated R. I'll tell you what the internet says about this movie. Struggling with his dual identity, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital. Directed by Todd Phillips, written by Scott Silver, Todd Phillips, and Bob Kane. No, it wasn't.
No, it's not.
I'm going to get your name out of my mouth, Bob Kane. Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, Brendan Gleeson. Always a delight to see that dude show up.
We all saw this together, and that was the best part.
Aw, friendship.
Do I own a comic book shop? Yes, I do. It's called Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. Go ahead.
Joker. Okay, so...
Well, did you like Joker?
No.
Okay. Did you like Joker?
No, I was wishy-washy. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I understood why people liked it.
Okay.
I got the hype, but it wasn't mine. I hated it. Yeah. I didn't hate it. It wasn't for me, though.
Yeah, as time went by, like at first I was just like, I don't understand the point of this. Because like if it's leveraging recognizable IP in order to have a conversation about something else, does it poorly. If it's just having a conversation about something else, agnostic of the IP, does it poorly. Like the first one, it was like a lot of half-assed.
I remember
the gravitas.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, it really deals with mental health." Just saying the words mental health in a movie doesn't mean you're dealing with it.
Yeah. It had a bunch of things in the, like a bunch of like boxes ticked with no real cohesive narrative tissue between them to make it an experience. It was just like a checklist of things that are popular.
You know what I like? King of Comedy and Fight Club.
Yeah, those are all better movies.
And Falling Down. It's just, Anyway.
So the first one I didn't really get pulled for, but when I heard that this one was a musical and Lady Gaga and there was an exploration of blah, 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 I was like, okay, could be interesting. There's a shot in the trailers, and I think we used it for the thumbnail. Of the character of Arthur Fleck in the prison yard, pouring rain, and the character has an affectation where when he's nervous, he compulsively laughs. So that's like the Joker laugh.
That is one of the things that I think it brings to the Joker mythos that I was like, that's actually pretty good.
But only for this version of it who is thrusted into it as opposed to wants to be it. But either way, there's this shot of him in the rain, like nervously laughing, and it's sad. It evokes awfulness. In the context of the movie, that scene is a smash cut away from a court scene and then something else afterwards. I think just like other characters eating a meal. There's no point to it. There's no point to that scene.
Hey, it's a cool shot though.
Exactly. And I think that's this whole movie in a nutshell. It's this aesthetic of gravitas and important and look how artistic we are with absolutely no soul or meat to it. It explores nothing, and it doesn't even feel like empty calories. It feels like somebody blew in my face because they ate a meal and I get to smell it. It was bad. I didn't like it.
It's a burp.
It was a burp. Yeah.
I did feel like I smelled like cigarettes after this movie.
She said
Everyone
that on the way
was
home.
Smoking.
Yeah, so much smoke in this movie.
Every option, like every opportunity, somebody has a cigarette in their mouth.
To me comes off as it's not inorganic, but like it's fake.
Yeah.
That also comes off as fake because it's like, guys, it's the 70s, 80s. We're all smoking. Let's smoke a lot. It's like just putting cigarettes in a scene doesn't mean I'm Scorsese.
Yeah.
And that's why this sucks so much. Like
smoking isn't cool, guys.
but that's just it. Like
Pretty
Todd
cool.
Phillips seems like the kind of creator or writer or storyteller that's just like, is more concerned with aesthetics than what they actually represent or how to piece them together. Like it's just all mimicry, but without, it sucked. I didn't like it at all.
It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but a movie.
Oh my God.
It looks like something, but there's nothing there. What did you think, Alice?
Wasn't a huge fan. One of the reasons the Joker wasn't my cup of tea is because I was physically uncomfortable the entire time, which like kind of is what they're trying to make you feel.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I get that. I don't want to revisit it, but I respect that they made me feel that way. Like that's what the feeling they were trying to evoke. This didn't give me that. So I was like, okay, I'm not uncomfortable watching this.
Yeah.
There were certain parts where I was, but it wasn't the whole time.
Yeah.
Joker, the entire time I was uncomfortable.
Okay.
This time I was like, okay, I don't love this, but I was expecting to be squirming in my seat the entire time. I'm not. All right. It's
Give you the
okay.
icks.
There was a sense of danger in the first one too, though, because you're not exactly sure how far this person will go or why they're going that far or whatever. This is just like it goes on too long.
Yeah.
Like this didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I took some notes. Some of my it doesn't do anything well. Any of the things it's trying to do, it does not do well. Make a musical, terrible. Courtroom drama. I love a good courtroom drama. Not good. Villain origin story. Now, commentary on mental health. No. I think the acting was awesome. I think I don't think there's a weak link in the bunch. Everyone brought their they're good game to that.
The guy that played Harvey Dent was terrible.
Yeah.
He wasn't, I mean, it doesn't feel like Harvey Dent at all.
Well, he was just,
Neither does this feel like the Joker.
he was just slimy.
Yeah.
Like he had absolutely no, like his entire character was just, like posing with his arm on his hip and being smarmy. There was absolutely, he wasn't even menacing in like we're really afraid of what Harvey Dent can do in order to get the death penalty. Like, he was like a shitty lawyer too.
Guy.
Like
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Harvey Dent, but I thought it was just because, I don't know. Because I'm biased with Batman villains.
That seems like the whole point of this movie, though. Is just like, what's a lawyer in lore? Harvey Dent. Let's make it Harvey Dent. Like, what's this? Like, it's just so slapdashy.
I didn't love this portrayal of Harley Quinn either. But
I thought she was good. I
thought she did a good job. I didn't like the way it was. It was the writing.
Sure.
Gaga did fine with what she was given, but
I forget what I was gonna say, but it's
I'm sorry.
2 pounds of story in a 20-pound bag. It's just, this is a half-hour story, and they made it over 2 hours. If they were going to lean into the musical aspects of it, and they wrote songs, I may have respected that a little bit more. But I feel like we're just going to grab songs that somewhere in the lyrics has smiling or the word Joker or put on a happy face. Like, it's just the dumbest choices that have nothing to do with the scene that it's in.
This isn't a musical. It's not a musical. A musical genre across the board is intended to act as either an impetus for characters' choices and or a way to talk about something without talking about it. So an action movie is, like the tension becomes so great that you come to blows or something explodes. But with a musical, its story is driven through song because they can't express themselves in other ways. This is just them breathy talk singing at each other. And also too, with musicals, there's often rules that are established visually, whether it's diegetic or non-diegetic. Diegetic meaning that everyone in the scene can hear the music. We are a part of the music, whereas non-diegetic is only the audience can hear it. Yeah. So for musicals, often they will kind of choose what paradigm they want to use, whether it's like everyone in the movie bursts into song and we're all a part of a musical. That's diegetic. There's no weird fantastical element to it. For non-diegetic, it's often like a character goes into their head and a musical number happens. The movie Chicago did that.
Yep.
This does neither and both poorly. Yeah. There are times when he's breathy singing to himself in a normal room and people are watching him, and then it's revealed that he's actually still just standing there. But then there's scenes when all of them are kind of like poorly singing at each other. And then there's scenes where it's full on in his head and a musical number kind of breaks out and there's really only like one scene in this entire movie that's an actual musical. And that's in the courtroom when he picks her up and she starts dancing on the table and he kills the judge and stuff. That's the only bit of this entire movie that's follows the rules of the genre. Everything else is just half-assed and poorly done. So like you literally can take out all of the times that people put words to song and it is still the same exact movie. I shouldn't be able to do that with a musical at all.
Yeah.
It's integral to the movie. It's not here.
Yeah, very frustrating. I thought the cinematography was fine. Nothing like the Salem's Lot. The Joker is a $200 million movie. I don't know how much Salem's Lot cost. It wasn't $200 million. Let me check it out. And
definitely
there's more thought and creativity in the Salem's Lot straight to streaming movie than anything that happens in the second Joker film. So yeah. And I don't like dream sequences in a movie or in a show or anything. If it's a dream sequence, I don't care. And most of the musical numbers in this are just dream sequences. So like half of this movie is dream sequences of like, oh, none of this is actually happening. He's just thinking about it. Which is very frustrating. I do want to say something positive about this movie. I was impressed. I went home that night and Sushan asked me about it. And I kind of gave her the beats. And giving her the beats, I was like, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. one of the reasons I did not like Joker 1 is because we have shootings weekly, daily, right, in the States. And a lot of that is from incels who are just sad, mostly sad white dudes who like don't have sex and they think that society's mean to them. And so they get a gun.
It's society's fault, not their own. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I felt like the Joker, the original movie, was kind of just doing more of that. I'm like, I don't need to see this. Like, this is not interesting to me at all. And I really like the turn this takes when we get into spoilers. I really like the turn that this takes at the end. That's what I'll say.
Oh, I like the idea of it, but I fucking hate the execution altogether.
Should we get into spoilers?
Sure.
I have a
spoilers for Joker Folie à Deux starting now. So yeah, at the end, I was surprised. He gets, he takes his microphone, he gets his bench. It looks like he's going to do a comedy routine.
I thought that was kind of funny when he did that. I was like, oh, okay, that's funny because he's the Joker.
And then
he's supposed to
be. He just has a breakdown and admits that he's just a pathetic piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he dies in a pathetic way. And
like a pathetic person.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, that's actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I was talking about this with a friend at work. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you didn't at all.
And she texted me a theory that she had about that, very similar to what you said. I got her permission to read it. So Megan, if you're listening, this is your shout out. So she said, this is a Joker theory. The audience being pissed that he doesn't fit up to the Joker standards aligns with the character of Lee and all of the other followers who got mad when he made that big proclamation that he's not the Joker. Mm-hmm. And so the point is, like, be who you truly are, and he isn't the Joker. And like, we put him on the pedestal of thinking he should be the real Joker, and he's not. And she's like, I can see that, but they needed more action or something cool to happen to keep people entertained, and less cuts to weird singing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I want to give him that much credit of like, the thing that happens to the characters, like the crowd and Harley Quinn and how they reject him because he's not the Joker is supposed to be equal to what I'm making the audience feel. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he put that much into it. What do you think?
I personally don't think Todd Phillips is a mature enough storyteller to have thought that through.
Yeah. It's a neat theory, though. I like it.
Yeah, I like the theory. Yeah. I was like, okay, that's a cool spin on it.
Maybe he did hate the reception and responded to it, but this isn't like an issue of 3D chess where this was the intention the whole time. Even in his original script of the first one, the scene at the end of him putting the blood on his face is now he has officially become the Joker. Mm-hmm. It's not like but really, the Joker is the friends we made along the way. It's not that deep, and trying to retroactively make it deeper is, if it makes you feel better. I don't think it's true. Are we in spoilers?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I liked that realization of his, and I liked him, running and trying to find her and stuff. It makes Harley the this movie makes Harley the aggressor, the villain.
Yeah.
She's the villain between the two of them because she's overly obsessed with this TV movie character and has resources and tries to mold him into a terror. Mm-hmm. She is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how I feel about. I think it defeats the point of the character of the character of Harley.
That's what I didn't like about it.
But also, this isn't the Joker, and it's not Harley. Like it goes out of its way to not resemble any of the IP that could be leveraged. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it feels divorced of any of that. Mm-hmm. So when they do the ending of him getting killed, and fade away, and we see somebody like his killer slashing their face to do that was a good
shot.
Stuff.
Talking about the cinematography, I love that shot. Mm-hmm. That was really well done. But go on.
I think the scene was fucking garbage, and I think I hate it. The fact that
the way the shot was set up, I like.
Sure. Yeah, sure. In shadow or in blurriness behind.
What about it did you hate? That scene?
It's this idea of like, I don't want to use anything from the established IP to leverage for my story, but I'm going to do this and make you think it's an allusion to something else. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's just throwing all of these things like member berries at people without actually having any kind of intention or meat to it. If the whole movie was about, again, the Joker is the friends we made along the way, and it's just like evil that passes or whatever. I'm sorry, you can't do that in the last 30 seconds of your movie and say that that's the whole point when it wasn't introduced or thought through for the other 4.5 fucking hours I spent on time with you. I think the landing wasn't stuck at all. Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah,
it pisses me off more than I think about it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us I
crawled the walls with it.
Crawled the wall angrily.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to going to the movies with you guys.
Yeah,
but every time I would remember what we were going to see, I'd be like, okay. And I gotta say, the walk home felt a little somber. It was like, it was just like, oh, we're all just kind of like bummed that the movie wasn't good.
I don't get to go to the movies as much as I want to, and I get a little annoyed when it's this bad.
Yeah, for sure. Would you think there were any redeeming qualities or anything you liked at all? Or just like
I think a lot of the technical aspects are very impressive, but they weren't employed in any kind of way that told a story that I think had any redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like, hey, the paint color of this house is awesome, but the house is broken.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything redeeming.
Okay.
I think it's a bit of a waste of time.
Christopher Goodnight says, I hate that the trailers and description had to lie to you to make you think she was a patient, which pissed me off when she had just checked herself in so she could meet him. Well, I think that's a reveal, right? So I think that is part of the story is like she tells the audience and the Joker that she is an inmate there. Yeah. And so it's a reveal that she's been lying to him.
Yeah, that's a plot point. That's not hidden. If anything, like they didn't even hide the fact that it's a musical in the
No. Yeah. They were pushing it hard because it was Lady Gaga.
Musical.
Yeah, but they were singing in it.
Pink Apocalypse says mimicry of actual creative genius sums up J.J. Abrams' entire career.
I'll defend J.J. Abrams because he at least knows how to tell a story, even though it's not his story. Like, I think the Super 8 was a giant ripoff of Steven Spielberg, but was well done ripoff of Steven Spielberg as opposed to just soulless.
I think the same. I liked The Force Awakens.
I like
ripoff of Star Wars, but
not soulless. I loved the Star Trek reboot, the first one and the third one. So I don't think he's this like if we were Todd Phillips versus J.J. Abrams, there's absolutely no contest as to who I think is the more talented storyteller at all in any way, shape, or form.
What a bummer. Hey, Dylan, did you see Joker?
I did not.
Okay, cool.
The first one?
Have we convinced you to go?
Yeah, I've seen the first one.
He's buying tickets right now.
I've seen the first one.
What'd you think of the first one?
It was all right. Yeah, but then like, I don't know, like it was sort of one of those things where it's like how it like catered to incels sort of made me like kind of, it gave me a little bit of the ick.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a lot of guys were like, oh, finally. Like,
I feel seen. Like,
it's the same people who think that Tyler Durden's a good guy in Fight Club.
Yes. It's like you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Yeah.
That's another one on the list of movies that's a red flag. Like, okay, you liked the Joker? Why? Yeah. Explain it to me. See if you got the point of it.
Well, I was gonna say with Fight Club, it's a red flag or a green flag.
Oh yeah, this one's just
in equal measure.
Yeah, okay,
with
this
the
is
Joker,
true. You're true.
Like,
you're
right. What's your favorite movie of the last 10 years? Fucking Todd Phillips' Joker was transcendental.
I hate that you called it Todd Phillips' Joker. I understand it is, but I was like cringe when you're like Todd Phillips' Joker.
Yeah. You know, Todd Phillips of the Hangover trilogy and fucking Road Trip?
I actually like Road Trip.
No, wait, he didn't do Road Trip. He did Old School.
Oh, I liked Old School. I like that one.
Old School's great.
Old School is great.
Yeah, let us know what you out there thought of Joker Folie Duel. You can email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. You could tweet at us at cultpopgo. We're on Instagram, fucking Twitch, TikTok, all that stuff.
Fucking Twitch.
So just
Twitch.
come hang out with us. We love you. Oh, what does Dylan think of Terrifier? Asked Pink.
I have not seen Terrifier, Pink, but thank you for asking. I know that it is gory.
Yes.
That's it.
Pink,
Same as me.
Pink, you
Yes.
didn't say if you saw it or not, just if you're interested.
You asked us about Terrifier, but what did you think?
Did you see them? What did you think? Because of all the things you read in the email, it kind of, it's like the middle of a lot of those. If it was a Venn diagram of all the different types of genres, it could be like in 4 of them. Especially the second one that goes like supernatural, but also not, but also this, but also that. Like the second one is kind of a wild ride.
Let me ask you this. At any point, does he do any of these horrible, protracted murders on a dude? Or is it just women?
Oh, God.
Yeah, on a dude, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there one? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
The first one just women? Okay.
The first one, no,
Well,
the first one's dudes too.
Well, he kills them, but not in the same way that he kills the women.
I mean, if we want to talk about that as a straight up horror trope in general, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a concerted effort of.
Is that
Art
why
the
the scene
clown.
in the third one is making such a splash with the chainsaw?
I don't know.
Because it's a dude.
Yeah, up the butthole. Oh, yes, she saw it. Horror should horrify, she says. I wasn't horrified by the Terrifier. I was bored. Ugh.
The second
Speak
one
No
is
Evil.
such-
The first Speak No Evil horrified me.
The second Terrifier movie is such a fucking vibe, and I don't love that phrase. It just kind of is like it's long, but it's never boring, and it also doesn't make sense. But I think I enjoyed watching it, but I didn't like it.
What if I watch it and I become the biggest fan? I'm going to come next week and art the clown makeup. I'm just like, all
That'd be
right,
amazing.
guys,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You're gonna stand out the door. That's terrifying. Yeah, that's so
Terrifying. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.